now we have changes in Java 9 features, which first is modules, then JShell, then list.off, set.off, map.off, private interface methods, and stream improvements. These are the major features. Although we have other features changes of Java 9 as well, but these are the major. So in this, we will learn about as many of the features we can cover. So first is modules. It is Java platform module system. So module in Java 9, we can also make the modules like module com.example.payment. So we can make the module and which requires Java.sql and export com.example.payment.service. So here what we can see that it requires Java.sql. This module requires Java.sql and it exports com.example.payment.service. Means other modules are allowed to access this package. So I can say that we can make use of module here. Second, second is Java 9 introduction to JShell, the Java REPL. REPL means read, evaluate, print, and loop. Before JShell, if you want to test something simple like this, if you want to test, we have to make a class. Then we just need to write system.out.println and then 10 plus 20 like this. With JShell, you can simply write JShell, then greater than icon, then system.out.println 10 plus 20, which results to 30. So JShell we can use for also testing the methods. So JShell is like int add, int a, int b, and then return a plus b. We can give like that. So for JShell, we can say that it can work for testing also for testing, and then it can also for the small methods we can check inside it. So that we can do with the help of JShell. Then we have collection factory methods. That is the Java 9 introduced convenient factory for creating immutable collections. Okay, we have factory methods for creating immutable collections. Before Java 9, when we want to create any immutable connection, what we are using collections dot unmodifiable list. We use this. So list string name collections dot unmodifiable list. Then we we create a collection like arrays dot s list John, Sam, and Alex. In Java 9, what we can do list and just simply list dot off. It will create the immutable collection. So immutable collection of John, Sam, Alex. And what do you mean by immutable here? Immutable here means we can't change it. If we try to change it, it will throw the exception. So like for set it is set off dot off John, Sam, and Alex. Map for map it is map dot off. So John, Sam, and Alex and 1, 2, 3. This is a key and values. These collections are immutable. So why immutable is name dot add dot debit. It will throw the unsupported operation exception. So list of set off and map of do not allow null. It will not allow null. And if we try to add null, for example, of John is the key and null is the value, then it will throw null pointer exception as well. So these are the changes. And then we have map dot of entries. This is also introduced in Java 9. For larger maps, Java 9 introduced map dot of entry. Map entry 1 John, map entry 2 Sam, map dot entry 3 dot Alex. So it is the entries of map. So it containing map containing the entries of map. They are also create an immutable map. This is also immutable. And then we have the introduction of private method in interfaces. Before Java 9 interfaces could have abstract method, default methods, and static method. Default and static introduction is happen in Java 8. Java 8 in interfaces we can define default and static, but after Java 9 we can also interface could also have the private methods. So Java 9 introduced private methods in interfaces. Example like interface we have payment interface, then we have the default method here and we have the private method here. Private void validate system.out.println validating payment. So the private method validate can only be called from inside the interface. And why was this introduced? Suppose an interface has multiple default methods. Okay, so instead of duplicating default logic, we can put it into a private method. So we have the like default void process payment validate and default void refund payment. Then we can validate. So what we are achieving here that we have made the private method validate and it is having a common logic which we can use inside the default methods. So this we are achieving by making one method as private, we can use inside the default methods. So this is the feature which is introduced in Java 9. Then we have this improve code reuse inside the interface. This improve the code reusability inside interfaces. Then we have try with resource enhancement. Java 7 introduced try with resources. So Java 9 improved it. Before Java 9, we could use like buffered render reader, new buffered reader, new file reader test dot txt. Okay, and try buffered reader br equals to reader system.out.println br.read line, then this. With try, we can use like this. So Java 9, what it allows? Java 9 allows you to use an effectively final variable directly. So we have just write it, then try reader, then reader.readline. This makes the code cleaner. Earlier, what we do, like we try and we just write it like this. After Java 9, we just try and reader inside it. Java 9 allows you to effectively final variable directly. This variable, we just try inside and then we write the logic. This make the code cleaner. Then we have the resource must be final or effectively final. It should be final. This reader should be final or effectively final, meaning it isn't reassigned after initialization. It should not be reassigned after once it got initialized. Streams API improvements. Then Streams API improvement is Java 9 introduced several useful methods to Stream API. Take while it takes elements while a condition is true. So we have the list of numbers. Then numbers.stream take while n is such that n modulo 2 equals to 0 for each system.out then println. It's a method reference here. So output is 246. Once 7 is encountered, the conditions become false. So it take while until the condition is true. So for 246, the condition is true. Then 7, when it comes to 7, it will stop printing. The condition become false and the stream stop. Then take while works on the encounter order of the stream. Drop while, opposite of take while. Example, list list of numbers 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10. Then n is such that n modulo 2 is equal to 0. For example, drop each, drop while for each system.out.println. Output, it would be like 7, 8, 9. Drop while, it drop elements while the condition is true and then process the remaining element. Drop while is the opposite of take while. So it drops element while the condition is true. So when the condition is true, it will not take the elements and it will process the remaining element after that condition. So stream iterate enhancement. Then the third method of stream is a stream iterate. Java 9 added a overload version of iterate with a predicate. So before stream dot iterate 1 n is such that n plus 1, this can create an infinite stream. In Java 9 stream iterate 1 n is such that n is less than equal to 10, n plus 1, output 1, 2, 3 till 10. So this is essentially seed condition next value. This is essentially the seed condition and next value. So iterate is also an important method added to Java 9. Then we have C streams of nullable. Java 9 introduced streams dot of nullable. It creates a one element stream if the value is non-null, an empty stream if the value is null. So example, we have tried on streams dot of nullable hello. For each system dot out println output hello. For stream dot of nullable null. So for example, system out print, then nothing is printed. This is useful for avoiding explicit null checks. So we are not getting any null pointer exception here. Streams of nullable, if it is checked for the null, if there is null is there, it will not give us the exception. It is nothing is printed. Nothing should be printed here. So this is useful for avoiding explicit null checks. Reactive Streams API. Then we have Reactive Streams API. Java 9 introduced the Reactive Streams API through Java util concurrent.flow. It provides interfaces such as flow.publisher, flow.subscriber, flow.subscription, flow.processor. So basic relationship, publisher publish data, subscriber publish data to subscriber. The important concept is back pressure. What is back pressure? Suppose a producer produce 1,000 message per second, but the consumer can process only 100 message per second. Without control, the consumer may become overloaded. Back pressure allows the subscriber to control how much data it can handle. This concept is very important in modern reactive systems. So this is what we call it reactive streams API. So we can also make use of reactive streams API. And then we have HTTP2 client support. Java 9 introduced a new HTTP client API as an incubator feature. It provides support from modern HTTP communication and HTTP2. However, the important distinction is the HTTP client API introduced in Java 9 was an incubator API and become a standard API later in Java 11. So it is an introduction of HTTP client there in Java 9, but the actual standard API it is released in Java 11. Java 11 has java.net.http client, not http.http client as a standard HTTP client API. Then the 15 we have compact strings. And what is compact strings here? Compact strings. Java 9 introduced compact strings internally in the JVM. Before Java 9, Java string internally used char, where each character generally required 2 bytes. Java 9 introduced a more memory efficient representation using byte when possible. For example, a string containing Latin 1 character can use a more compact representation. Conceptually, before Java 9, string char 2 byte character, and after Java 9, what is string byte and 1 byte per character when possible. So benefit is what? Reduced memory consumption and garbage collection pressure. So it works on the memory consumption and garbage collection pressure. So now it's using as in byte after Java 9. So this is particularly useful for application that create a very large number of strings. When some application is using a large number of string, then its performance will be increased by this change. So then after process API improvements, Java 9 improved the API for interacting with operating system processes. New methods were added to Java lang process and Java lang process handle. For example, process handle, current process handle dot current system dot out dot println current PID. You can get the information about process ID, parent process, child process, process information, and process status. So this is much more powerful than the older process APIs. So you can get all the information about the process. So then multi-release jar file. Java 9 introduced multi-release jars. This allow a single jar to contain different version of a class for different Java versions. Conceptually, mylibrary.jar. So versions 9, some class, version 11, some class. So a library can provide Java version specific implementation while still distributing one jar. This is useful for library developers who need compatibility across multiple Java versions. So if someone want a compatibility across multiple Java version, they can use like this. Then unified JVM logging. Java 9 introduced a unified logging mechanism for the JVM. Instead of having different logging mechanism for different JVM components, Java introduced a unified system. Example, Java Xlog GC. You can use it for the things such as GC logs, garbage collection logs, class loading, JVM events, threads, compilation, save points. This becomes very useful for JVM monitoring and troubleshooting. So while we are working with JVM, we can use this Java Xlog GC. So unified JVM logging. Then we have ahead of time compilation experimental. So Java 9 introduced experimental support for ahead of time compilation using GRAL. Normally Java uses Java source, bytecode, JVM, GIT compilation, machine code, AOT attempts to. So it's like that. And ART attempts to compile code ahead of execution. This feature was experimental in Java 9 and should not be confused with the later evolution of GRAL VM native image tooling. So this is also one of the feature which is introduced in Java 9. Then important Java 9 summary is what? Feature, what it does. So JPMS, that is modularization. This is the summary of the Java 9 features. So what we can say that it's JPMS modularization and strong encapsulation, which we already seen. JShell, Java, REPL for interactive coding. List of set of map of convenient immutable collections. Then private interface methods, code reuse inside interface. And then take stream elements while condition is true. Drop while skip elements while condition is true. Streams of nullable, create empty single element stream based on null. Stream dot iterate and hence support predicate based iteration. So flow API, reactive streams, back pressure, just flow API we have. Then process handle, better process management. Then HTTP2 client, modern HTTP client initially, incubator. So initially incubator is introduced in Java 9. Then compact strings, better strings, more efficiency. To enhance the efficiency, we have introduced this compact strings in Java. Unified JVM logging, standardized JVM logging. Then multi-release jar, different class version in one jar. So different class version we have in one jar. We can then if someone asks you explain Java 9 feature, don't just list them. Start with the most significant feature of Java 9 was the Java Platform Module System, that is JPMS, that is the creation of modules. And then apart from modularization, Java 9 introduced JShell, factory methods for immutable collections, then private interface methods, stream API enhances such as take while and drop while, the flow API for reactive programming. Then we have process handle APIs, compact strings, and unified JVM logging. So this explain module plus JShell plus collection factory methods plus stream enhancement plus private interface method in details. So we can explain it like this. So thank you so much for watching.